Hello there, I'm Sarah McQuaid. Thanks so much to the lovely people at Americana UK for inviting me to be part of this mini-gig series. There's a really impressive list of artists who've done these already, and I'm seriously honored to be invited to join their number. I'm going to start with a song that I recorded on my 2015 album, Walking into White. It's also on my brand new archival release, Walking into White, Live in Rapid City. And this is one of 3 songs on that album that are all inspired by the Swallows and Amazons series of books by Arthur Ransom, which I was reading aloud to my kids in the run-up to the album recording. This particular one is set in the Norfolk Broads, which is a network of tidally influenced waterways. So when the tide is in, you can sail your boat anywhere you like. But when the tide goes out, it goes out really quickly. And if you haven't kept to the marked deep water channels, you'll get stuck in the mud. And if you get stuck in the mud, there's absolutely nothing you can do but sit there in your boat, in the mud, and wait for the tide to come back in and lift you out of the mud that you're stuck in. These tidal waters tell a lie. The broad and shining surface hides a narrow path through muddy shallows marked by secret signs. The channel twists and turns, and heaven help you if you try to find a shorter way across, or if you fail to read the signs. You're on a ground with no way out until the turning of the tide. But the tide will rise in time. Be ready with your boat to meet it. Feel the water lift you till you're floating free. Hoist your sail and find a channel deep enough to carry you to open sea. There's been time for many tides to fall and rise since you and I fetched up in shallow waters that have muddied up our lives. The channel flows just out of reach, in sight of where we lie, and watch so many ships and sailors gliding effortlessly by. They glance at us with pity in their sad and knowing eyes. But the tide will rise in time. We'll be ready with our boat to meet it. Feel the water lift us till we're floating free. We'll hoist our sail and find a channel deep enough to carry us to open sea. The tide will rise in time. We'll be ready with our boat to meet it. Feel the water lift us till we're floating free. We'll hoist our sail and find a channel deep enough to carry us to open sea. If you're wondering about the space where I'm standing, this used to be a derelict garage or garage, depending on where you're watching from, adjoining my house. And I had the idea of renovating it into a home studio where I could not only record all of my future albums, but also use the space to set up PA, just like we've done here, and lighting, and tech rehearse all my new material before I go out and perform it on stage, which would be really, really useful. We're kind of halfway through the building process, so the roof is done, but we still need doors and windows. And if you'd like to help make it all happen, there's a GoFundMe campaign on my website. The track I'm going to play for you now was recorded on my 2018 album, If We Dig Any Deeper, It Could Get Dangerous. And this is a guitar instrumental piece. It's called The Day of Wrath, That Day. That beautiful electric guitar that I've been playing used to belong to a great, great musician and songwriter called Michael Chapman. And Michael produced my fifth album, that If We Dig Any Deeper, It Could Get Dangerous album. And ahead of the album, he phoned me up and said, listen, I'm going to UPS you my red electric guitar because I really want you to write some songs on electric guitar. And I had never played an electric guitar before, but I am so grateful to him that I have that guitar to remember him by, because sadly he left us in 2020. I also love my beautiful acoustic guitar that I played on the first track. That was custom made for me by a brilliant luthier called Andy Manson, who's best known for having made a whole bunch of different instruments, including mandolins and guitars and all sorts, for both John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. If you ever see old pictures of Jimmy Page where he's playing this strange-looking instrument with three necks, that was made by the same guy who made that guitar, Andy Manson. This is called One Sparrow Down. There's a sparrow at my window and he's spoiling for a fight. He's attacking his reflection and he's puffing out with pride. He doesn't see the cat who's watching from the windowsill inside. She stares at him intently with her gorgeous golden eyes, while he flaps and struts and chatters in a futile exercise. He can't banish the invader, so he tries and tries and tries. He should have built himself a nest instead of battling the stranger, but the image in the window pane is all that seems to matter. It's his enemy and nemesis that you hate and fear forever. The cat is blind but glossy, she's prepared to bide her time till the sparrow falls exhausted to the ground. And then she stands and stretches out her back, takes herself outside. She pads across the grass to find him. She never makes a sound. One sparrow down. I'm going to finish up with this one. Thanks so much again for inviting me to be part of this, all the people at Americana UK. Thanks to all of you for listening. And please do check out my website. I'm nearly always on tour, pretty much all the time. Tour dates are all on the website at sarahmcquaid.com. Info on the GoFundMe is there as well. This is a brand new song that I'm hoping to record on my next album. And it came out of the big night of the Northern Lights that we had in May of last year. And I was on tour at the time, so I was staying in a hotel right by the motorway, loads of light pollution, couldn't see a thing. And luckily for me, I went to take what I thought was going to be a humorous photograph of the completely dark sky that I was going to send off to the people who were texting me their fantastic pictures of the Northern Lights and say, well, this is what I'm seeing. But when I pointed my phone camera at the sky, lo and behold, there on my screen were the Northern Lights, revealed in all their glory. So what could I do but write a song? Thank you so much again for listening. I was in a hotel off the motorway. I'd just landed in from a show when the WhatsApps and messages all started flashing, saying get yourself out there and check out what's happening. So I got up and put on my coat. black as it ever was, but I held up my phone all the same, and the view on my screen told a whole different story. The northern lights shimmering in all of their glory, like lemon juice ink with a flame. When I held up my phone to the sky, the whole crazy scene came alive. Ribbons and fountains of purple and green, cascading and flickering over my screen. In the glare of the lights in the car park, they couldn't be seen. But the whole crazy scene came alive when I held up my phone to the sky. Back in the bright hotel lobby, I told the receptionist what I had seen. She gave me some chocolate, said that's on the house, and she picked up her phone and she headed on out to get her own shots of the view that she saw from her screen. On my son's university campus, he had no trouble seeing the show. The view was amazing, but he was frustrated. He wanted a picture and he couldn't take it with the camera on his little phone. And each of us envied the other, neither one getting the gold, but we shared it together, and that makes me glad. Sometimes technology isn't so bad when it gives us a memory to hold. When I held up my phone to the sky, the whole crazy scene came alive. Ribbons and fountains of purple and green, cascading and flickering over my screen. In the glare of the lights in the car park, they couldn't be seen. But the whole crazy scene came alive when I held up my phone to the sky. When I held up my phone to the sky.
Super! Bloody fantastic. All right, mate.